Thank you for coming out to learn with us tonight in this run-up to Shavuot. This is the last of our series, but it's certainly not the least. This is with Karen Lewin. In her role as Education Director here at Bethel, Karen Lewin always finds a way to make learning fun as well as meaningful. Tonight's program sounds particularly intriguing. We're honored to have Karen present to us Jewish American Idol. Karen.
Thanks, Helene. That was a great introduction.
Thank you.
So I have a little challenge favor to ask you all. And two ways you can do this. If you have a cell phone, easiest way to do it. If you can pull up a web browser on a cell phone, and I'm going to share my screen. If you don't want to use the cell phone, in theory, you could pull up a web browser on your computer and do this with your Zoom up. It's just a little less confusing if you use your browser in your phone. And you're going to go to a website. I'm going to show it to you. And Rabbi, can you make me the host? I can't share.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you as host right now. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. You should be able to do screen share.
Thank you so much. Okay. So, 1 second. I'm going to ask you to go to a website called menti.com. You see this up here, menti.com. And there's a code right here, 758407. So I'm just going to give you a minute to get into that, and then we can work together. It's a fun. Abigail, can you attest to the fact that Mentimeter is fun?
Yes.
Okay, good. Abigail will tell you this is fun. Okay, and great. All right, so everybody with me? I don't want to go on until everybody's there, more or less. I'll give you one more minute. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Everybody's good? Yeah? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go. So welcome. Here we are, Jewish American Idol. And I want to start with a text. And I want to focus, because it's Jewish American Idol, on the second commandment tonight and what it says. So would someone volunteer to read for us in the English or the Hebrew, but probably the English. See better? Go ahead, Faye.
You have to unmute yourself, Judy.
Faye, you got to unmute yourself, or whoever. Yeah. Yeah.
Shall not make for yourself a sculptured image or any likeness of what is in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am an impassioned God, visiting the guilt of the parents upon the children, upon the third and upon the fourth generations of those who reject me, but showing kindness to the 1,000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments.
So according to the second commandment, the idea of idolatry is really not making any sculptured image. And we know that obviously Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, their origins were in a polytheistic society. So I want to ask you, beyond the sculptured image that we think of as an idol, what is an idol? And you'll see on your phone, on your Mentimeter, there's a couple where there's a place for you to enter your answer. It's a little interactive. So it doesn't say who said what, by the way. You can't tell who said what. So feel free to just answer freely. And what is an idol?
Oh, we're limited on each line, I guess.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, I have to change my answer so it fits.
And if you don't want to participate, that's okay too, of course. It's just kind of nice way for people to participate without everyone raising their hand. And I like some of these. Kim Kardashian, that's like one of the things I thought about when I think of an idol. Money, unworthy, something we want to be, a focus, a hero. Oh, they're coming in. A symbol, a fetish, a fake god. These are good. Wonderful answer. Social media, yes. Something you give power to. Cell phone. Statue. These are wonderful. What you value above all. How many of you think that these cell phones of ours are idols to a certain extent? Okay, a false god. These are great. Thank you. Thank you for participating. I hope everyone got a chance to, oh, there's a couple more coming in. Just gonna give it one more minute. Wonderful. Obsession. Oh, I like the word obsession. Yeah. Great. That's great. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next slide. So here's a question for you. Do people worship the idol itself or what the idol represents? That's a little bit hard. I realize I'm giving you an either or. Yeah.
I guess it depends what the idol is.
So, okay, so we have most people thinking that people worship what the idol represents. Anybody want to talk to that for a minute? Why you might have put that one on up? Why you would have answered that way?
I think of idol like the word icon, which originally derives from a sense of idolatry, that it really is at its core a symbolic item, that it's a stand-in for some greater aspiration that's beyond what we actually are, what that actually itself is. So I see it as the ultimate deflection.
Interesting. Yeah. And I know there's less people who put people worship the idol itself. Anyone want to speak to that? It's interesting. I wonder if, like with a Kim Kardashian, if people are, well, I guess it's both. It's hard to say, but it's interesting that, we think both ways. I often wonder if idol worshiping, so to speak, is about, your intent, like when you use a cell phone, if you're worshiping a cell phone, so to speak, it's about the intent of connection, right? Especially now in these days, right? Connecting to people. Whereas if your idol is, okay, let's say Kim Kardashian, the intent is their intent. I don't want to judge whether there is or not, because I'm not, into Kim Kardashian enough to know, but perhaps, there is intent. And I think that's interesting if, that has anything to do with it. Okay, so next question, what does it mean to idolize someone or something? What does that truly mean? I like the typing sounds.
Karen, this is Ruth. How do I post content?
Oh,
I've never done it
Ruth,
before.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in. Forgive me.
Oh, that's no, that's okay.
Do you see at the top of the screen here, it says go to menti.com. So I was asking people to use their cell phone because it's a little easier. Do you see up here,
Oh.
menti.com?
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see there's a code here. Sorry about that. I didn't see you come in.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay. All right.
If
We'll wait for you to come in, Ruth. So
That's okay. I'm going to pass on this one. Thank you.
okay, no problem. But if you have a response, please just tell us. It's okay if you know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you don't have to do it this way. One of the reasons
Okay.
I do it this way is sometimes people don't want to say theirs out loud, which I understand, and it just, you know, gives people that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to idolize someone or something, to put them on a pedestal, elevate in importance, hero worship, to look up to them, to aspire to that value it represents, to hold on a pedestal, to project a fantasy of absolute importance onto that thing or
Mhm.
person. I like that. Someone to look up to, place them above anything else, to place excessive value, often unfounded, upon the idol, put on a pedestal, to place a higher value on it than all else. Wow, really great responses. Ruth, did you want to add anything?
No.
Okay, good.
Covers a lot of territory.
Okay, good. Anybody, anytime anyone wants to add anything, please, I don't want this to be a non-teaching, talking moment. It's just, like I said, a different way of communicating. Okay.
Sure.
So, my next thought is, are there people or things that we should idolize? And it's not just a yes or no question, but who or what are those things as well? I should probably put that in there. Yeah. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah.
Like that.
Okay, so if someone says definitely no, I got another RBG. Look up to but not idolize. I have a hard time with the word idolize. I think there are things that are worth valuing highly. Okay, people that strive. Sorry, it's hard to. People that strive to be. People that you can strive to be like. Admire, yes. Idolize, no. People with high moral standards like Obama or RBG. As Jews, we should always prioritize space to zoom at and consider the cracks or limits. Wow, these are great. Of all things and people. People who come up with vaccines, I mean. This is dependent upon the value of the person or the item that we might idolize. Good. Anything else?
There's one more.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Someone who goes out of their way to help people. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And why do we, it's interesting, there's a debate here, and I'm wondering what you guys think. Some people say there are people we should idolize, right? People who make vaccines, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Obama, someone who goes out of their way. And I think other people are uncomfortable. You know, there's the idea of valuing, but not, not idolizing. Anybody have any ideas what you think that might be about? What's that tension about?
So I would say
prohibitions.
there's
Go
probably a
ahead,
very
Jen.
fine line between admiring something, like admiring and idolizing someone, and like worshiping them. Right? So like we can admire admire and idolize people like RBG, um, but also being able to kind of take that step back and recognize, you know, I really admire the work that she does on the Supreme Court, and this is someone I really look up to, and yet also understanding that, you know, she also has her flaws and she's not perfect. So, right, so like understanding that if you do select a person to kind of quote unquote follow, that you understand that they're human and that this isn't a deity that we're suddenly going to bow down to and try to make statues of.
Thank you, Hannah. I like that. That's really nice. Anybody else?
I never thought I would hear Kim Kardashian and RBG in the same lecture.
Is that bothering you, Judith?
Maybe it's our understanding of the word idolize that bothers me about this whole question. Up to someone without idolizing them. Idolizing to me is wrong. Looking up is another story.
It's interesting. Anybody else?
I think like about the word pesel in Hebrew, relating so much to form, that idolatry really is an obsession with form, and as such it becomes very superficial. And just like Hannah said, like, this is kind of what I was getting at with my that it's wonderful to admire, but it's dangerous to obsess on that level of form. And once we do that, we blind ourselves to asking questions that will improve all of our lots. In other words, once we subscribe to someone's absolute charisma, we lose the ability to be independent thinkers, and we lose our own agency.
Yeah, we lose that.
Necessarily so.
And there's something about idolizing that it's very, to me, like ephemeral, you know, can be fleeting, not something really well grounded. So I too have trouble with the word. Yeah.
Wow.
I also think that when you the word idolize is that you lose a sense of yourself and who you are, because that becomes all consuming. Whereas if you value something or if you think something is important, there's a separation between you and what you're thinking about. It's so the word object for pesel really has a lot of meaning here, because you lose yourself. That which you objectify, you become almost the object. That you lose yourself in that.
And I say this with all seriousness.
I think the word itself, idol, has the connotation behind it, or an inner connotation of something that really is being grossly overvalued, and that really it's deep down in our thought processes that there's something false about this overvaluation. Even though on the surface it may be very obviously a special thing. This applies to even people who do great righteous acts, that behind every greatness is something that is a little less great. There's nothing that absolute that it's worthy of the praise it gets.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Great. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna move on. Okay, so I have a little text here from Franz Rosenzweig. Anybody want to read? Just jump in there if you want to read.
Idol worship was the prominent form of religious life in biblical times. On its simplest level, the second commandment is about loyalty to one true God. Throughout the Bible, the text illustrates our relationship with God by using the metaphor of marriage. In contrast, idol worship often employed the metaphor of adultery. Franz Rosenzweig, in the following passage, explains his belief that we often substitute our love of God with our passion for the false gods of money, power, and status. You want to read the paragraph?
Names change, but polytheism continues. Culture, civilization, people, state, nation, race, art, science, economy, and class. Here you have what is certainly an abbreviated and incomplete list of the pantheon of our contemporary gods. Who will deny their existence? No idolater has ever worshipped his gods with greater devotion and faith than that displayed by modern man towards his gods. A continual battle has been going on to this very day in the mind of man between the worship of the one and the many. Its outcome is never certain.
Thank you, Greenbirds. Anybody have any thoughts about this passage? No, like that no idolater has ever worshipped his idols with greater devotion, right? Than man. Do you feel that we are people that, would you agree with Rosenzweig? I guess is my question. Would you agree with what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Simon and Garfunkel Sound of Silence lyric. Out and pray to the neon gods they made, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sums it up.
It is like it is like that nowadays. We've come to worship our possessions to an extent because they are such amazing possessions that weren't available in previous eras. For example, the automobile became sort of like an idol of a family that, you know, you'd be with great pride displaying your car, washing it every Sunday, whatever it would take to make it, and often doing this at the expense of not attending to things that might be a much greater value, much more importance to yourself or your family or your society. It's that way with work. The so-called rat race that we get trapped in has in it the incentives of positions and money that was not previously available to this extent. I mean, there was certainly money, there was certainly positions in the ancient empires, but to the everyman, it became available to some extent, and it was sought greatly because it made every man a bit of a king. And kingship is something that even the Chumash is very bothered by when it tells how to restrict the position and the potential abuse of power of a king. And with possessions, and with even ordinary possessions that the ordinary non-king has in his own little kingdom at home or his own little kingdom in his community, the abuse of power, therefore, becomes right in your face. It becomes a potential that's too easy to attain.
Thank you. Wow.
I think our tradition is so countercultural. Here we have all of the potential areas that we can really focus on, and our tradition says who is wise, who is wealthy, right? Who has strength, and it's very referential. Like we're supposed to look to ourselves for those values inside, not to look outside. And at the very basic level, that's very countercultural because we're a competitive culture. What do I have? What do they have? But really, who is wise? Me. I have to change my behavior to be wise. And who is strong? I have to change my behavior to be strong. And it's just very challenging in our culture that is very materialistic and oriented outside.
I've often thought about that hasameach bechelko, right? Who is which, the one who's happy with their portion, and that. Yeah, thank you, Ruth. Wow, that's an amazing connection.
But I don't think this, this dilemma, should I say, I don't think it's necessarily worse today. I'm looking at Franz Rosenzweig's the last sentence there, as if to say, oh, it's worse now than it's ever been. I don't agree with that. I think what we're talking about is really basic to human nature, across many eras, going back. I don't think it's just today. It's always existed in some form or another.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I would say that is true, but I just want to say P.S. However, there's more stuff today than there ever has been before. We own more things. We have more than most generations have had prior. So it's even, it's a little bit different, I would say.
Could this happen? Okay.
Go ahead.
Could this have been written by Franz Rosenzweig explaining at the time, perhaps it was at a time when people were leaving the religion or not being as observant as they had been? As I remember, I can't remember everything, but didn't Franz Rosenzweig himself at one time leave Judaism? Yes or no? I might be wrong. I have mixed up with someone else.
He almost did. Yeah, he
Yeah,
almost.
that was kind of the Star of Redemption was like his kind of
right.
realization.
I just was thinking.
One thing though, when you look at Tanakh, you look at Isaiah, you look at all the different prophets throughout our history, even going back to the golden calf, right after we got, Sinai occurred. You see people having doubts and worshiping something that was more tangible, whether it's something made of gold, whether it's another type of idol. So I'm not sure it's more today. I think it's different in the sense that in the past it was a true deity. If you go way back in Tanakh, I think today though, it's just there's just as other people have said, we're so much more independent and we are so reliant on what Abigail?
Wait.
Reliant on materialism. And I think that's the big difference. And Abigail wants to say something.
So when you guys are talking about how like things that we have, we sort of like treat them like idols, like when people are talking about like the car and how like you always go to wash and make them like nice. At least in the middle school, people with their phones, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I just got the new iPhone X. The next week they're like, oh well, now I got this new fancy schmancy phone case. But I feel like every so often people like always are like upgrading it, and they're always like, look at my phone, it's so great and amazing, you should get it too, and stuff like that, when it's really just a phone.
Right.
Pretty sad.
I like that.
It's pretty sad. Wow. Some great comments. Thank you. I'm going to move on. I just want to make sure to keep to the time. My next question, which we might have kind of gotten to a little bit, but what forms of idolatry or idolatrous attitudes do you consider to be present in our community? So I guess Abigail on the phones, that I don't know how you name that. I'm not sure how to label that phone behavior, the one-upping, I guess. What other things do you see in our world today, in our society? Material acquisition plus attainment of prestige and or power. Money and objects. Materialism. Bragging about new cars, phones, vacations. The glamorization of lies. Wow. Yeah. Phone or internet, having all the answers, so no need to think for yourself. Great. Well, not great, but yeah. Money, greed, racism, sexism, and homophobia. Materialism, elevation of the ego. Wow, what else do we have? These are great. It's almost as though they're superhuman. Wow. Thank you all. These are, yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on. So getting a little closer to home, as synagogue members, how can we help address contemporary examples of idolatry? Is there anything we can do in our Bethel community to address these issues? I don't know the answer to this, by the way. This is, you know, I've thought about it. It's a hard one. Teaching acceptance. Wow. Focus less on stuff. Reorient and create a shift. Individualism. Befriending our neighbors. Education of Jewish value. Awareness. Saying no. Teaching values. Don't settle for superficial. Value heavenly blessings. Focus less on stuff. Building relationships. Tzedakah. Thinking critically. Wow, these are wonderful. Just give you another minute. Awareness, education, caring for our planet. Keep up great teaching. You know, one of the hardest things that I find in my job as education director is that we do a lot of values teaching with the students, and they get very into it in exploring. We have monthly values, exploring our values and finding things we can do to emulate that value and how to make choices to demonstrate that value. But I think it's much harder somehow in the real world, you know, when we get out of the school world to do this. I have a lot of kids, mostly teens, who are willing to admit to me what they won't do, what they don't want to, that they know what they should do with the, you know, ethics and values, but they don't necessarily want to because they're worried about, you know, what others will think about them. So,
but it's not just at school. Even though I was talking about you, there's teaching at home. And look what a great job Linda did. Her daughter's wonderful.
Amen. Thank you. Yes, you're right.
Teaching's at home too. It's not just in the school.
You're right, Judith. And there's less teaching in the home today than there used to be, you know, and that's a challenge for sure. It's a challenge. Yeah. It's a great list. Thank you. And my final question for the evening, which is, what does the text from Exodus, the text about idolatry, teach us today about ourselves and about God, or one or the other, however, you know, whatever you feel comfortable answering?
Put it back on.
Oh yeah, it go back. Did it refresh in your web browser?
Okay.
Yeah. If not, we can always talk too. It's okay.
I meant the text that you showed us originally.
Oh, right. I get it. Thanks, Mom. But I can't. I don't know if I can do that.
Okay, don't mess up.
I'm sorry, Mommy.
I'll get the Tanakh.
It's basically, no, don't get out the Tanakh. It's basically the text about, you know, making images. This is amazing. That idolatry distances us from the divine. Idolatry is tempting because it is so tangible. We must have faith in something more abstract and eternal. We have short memories about the good done for us. Amen. Jealousy, we desire what others have. To be mindful and judicious in choosing wisely. And we are not paying attention. We are all eligible to fall to the worship of idols, even in the setting of our being witness to the greatness of God. Well said. Well said, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just give you another minute in case people are thinking. It teaches us that the work of not committing idolatry, as we defined it tonight, is a constant activity. We need to focus on the longer term values of honoring others, being in awe of our Creator, and doing acts of loving kindness. That's, I don't know who wrote that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Be smart before you make a choice. Yes. Well said. Wow. These are wonderful. Be mindful of your actions. Wow, this is wonderful. Sorry, the scrolling makes me seasick. This is quite a list. I think just want to make sure. We need to stop. Oh, sorry. I need to stop. We need to stop and focus more on God and the Jewish values. Yes. Wow. Amazing. 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 Okay.
We need to also think about the consequences of our actions. That's related as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, appreciate it all. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. And I really, I want to thank you all. I hope you understand. I did the Mentimeter because I know sometimes it's hard for people to express themselves. You know, sometimes it's easier in speaking, sometimes writing. So thank you for playing along with the Mentimeter. It's a tool that I picked up in the COVID pandemic online learning scene. So I hope it served us well tonight. And thank you for taking this journey with me. I learned a lot from you tonight as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
That was
beautiful.
Good young
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Karen, for such an engaging and wonderful session. I think very illuminating. And I want to thank everyone for their wonderful ideas throughout this session. It's good to see so many folks here. And this is the last of our Cheesecake chat series for this week. We were going to post the recording for this session online like the others. And also just a reminder that tomorrow night, of course, is Shavuot. And we're going to have the Bucks County Kehila-wide Clergy Council Tikkun Leil Shavuot from 6 to 8 Eastern Time. The link is available on the Bucks County Kehila website, and it's also posted. If you look at Bethel Yardley Shavuot, just Google that, you'll see it, all that. In order to access any of the sessions, you need to access the registration link. So make sure to register in advance. And I'll be teaching as well Rabbi Jonah and will all my colleagues across Bucks County. So it will be a wonderful array of different kinds of courses tomorrow night. And if we have a very, very short service tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Through the regular Bethel link. So if you want to just do services, that's 8 p.m. sharp. And if you blink, you'll miss it. It's a very short service. And then we have services Friday and Shabbat morning at 9:30, and of course Friday night at 6 p.m. as well. Want to wish everybody pre-Chag Sameach. I hope everyone has ample time to make your cheesecake and blintzes and all that good stuff. And I want to wish everyone a sweet, safe, and healthy Shavuot. And again, Yesher Kochech, Karen, on a fabulous class. And to all volunteers this week, we had fabulous with Ruth and with Lou and Seth as well. So, and always, everyone should always know we are always looking for teachers for adult ed, and I want to thank Colleen for all of her hard work in putting this together and all of our adult ed together. It's a really phenomenal lineup she puts together on a consistent basis.
I want to thank Faye for raising Karen.
And yes, we like to say thanks to moms. Moms are the best.
Thank you. I'm very proud of my daughter, needless to say.
Absolutely.
You have good reason to be.
I said for good reason. Lots of, and may your nachas continue.
Thank you.
And good children, good grandchildren. So that's a good thing.
Wonderful session. Wonderful
Very
session.
good, thank you.
All right.
Hello, Jeff.
All right,
Take
Nana,
care,
tell everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Hot summer.